Here are some good phrases to use in everyday conversations, along with examples of how to use them. 1. I see your point. Example, I see your point about the benefits of exercise, but I still struggle to find the time to work out. 2. That's a good question. Example, that's a good question about the environmental impact of fast fashion. I'll have to do some research to find the answer. 3. I appreciate your perspective. Example, I appreciate your perspective on the importance of art education in schools. It's given me a new way of thinking about the issue. 4. Thank you for bringing that up. Example, thank you for bringing up the issue of mental health in the workplace. It's an important topic that deserves more attention. 5. I can understand why you feel that way. Example, I can understand why you feel that way about the current political climate. It's been a divisive and challenging time for many people. 6. Let me think about that for a moment. Example, let me think about that for a moment. I'm not sure I have a clear answer to your question about the ethical implications of AI in healthcare. 7. I'd love to hear more about that. Example, I'd love to hear more about your experience volunteering at the animal shelter. It sounds like a rewarding way to give back to the community. 8. You've given me a lot to think about. Example, you've given me a lot to think about regarding the intersection of technology and privacy. I'll need some time to process everything we've discussed. 9. I'd like to learn more about that. Example, I'd like to learn more about the cultural significance of that holiday you mentioned. Can you recommend any resources or events where I can find out more? 10. Thank you for sharing that with me. Example, thank you for sharing your personal story about overcoming adversity. It's inspiring to hear how you've persevered and found strength in challenging times. These phrases can help foster understanding, respect, and empathy in conversations. By actively listening and expressing interest in what others have to say, you can build stronger connections and have more meaningful interactions. Certainly, here's some more detailed information about each of the phrases and why they are effective in conversations. 1. I see your point. This phrase shows that you're actively listening and trying to understand the other person's perspective, even if you don't necessarily agree with it. 2. That's a good question. This phrase acknowledges the value of the question being asked and indicates that you're taking it seriously and giving it thought. 3. I appreciate your perspective. This phrase shows respect for the other person's viewpoint and signals that you're open to considering different perspectives. 4. Thank you for bringing that up. This phrase expresses gratitude for the other person raising an important issue or topic and shows that you value their input. 5. I can understand why you feel that way. This phrase validates the other person's emotions and shows that you're trying to see things from their point of view. 6. Let me think about that for a moment. This phrase indicates that you're taking the question or issue seriously and want to provide a thoughtful response rather than simply reacting impulsively. 7. I'd love to hear more about that. This phrase expresses genuine interest in the other person's experiences or ideas and invites them to share more. 8. You've given me a lot to think about. This phrase acknowledges the depth and complexity of the conversation and signals that you need time to process and reflect on what's been discussed. 9. I'd like to learn more about that. This phrase shows curiosity and a desire to expand your knowledge on a particular topic and invites the other person to share their expertise or resources. 10. Thank you for sharing that with me. This phrase expresses gratitude for the other person's openness and vulnerability in sharing something personal or meaningful and shows that you value their trust. By using these phrases in conversations, you can create a more supportive and collaborative environment where everyone feels heard, respected, and valued.